Hi, she's Trixie, and I'm Sarah, and this is Our Yarn World, a place where we come to share the love of yarn crafts and all that it gives us and what we hope it gives you. We're on episode 185 today, and we have a lot to share. We're very excited. Were we here last week? No, we were not.
I was sick, remember?
That's right. And the reason why I asked, because I could not remember showing anything, and I was like, wait a minute, how much do they know that I've gotten done? Well, you don't even know anything about this project. So, okay, we have a lot to share and catch up on.
Yes.
Because 1 week being gone and there's so much to share.
And so much productivity.
Yeah, so
I want to begin with a tale of not going off your allergy medicines, even if it was the doctor's fault. So I ended up going off my allergy medicines because I have a new doctor. And when I went to go see her on July 1st, the nurse put all my prescriptions into the new doctor's name. Well, Walgreens did not know that, and so they ended up not giving me my medicines because
the doctor hadn't signed off on it yet.
Or they were trying to get it through my old doctor, but she was no longer in that team of people. She's moved on to a hospital. So I was not able to get it, and I had tried so many times, and so what happened was I had gone to the eye doctor, got my eyes checked, did all the testing, found out that my left eye was worse and I needed new glasses, which I do have. So
they look great.
Thank you. And so I went the following Thursday. Now this appointment was on a Monday. I went the following Thursday, I can't even think of the dates. But anyway, the next week down. And I went to go get my glasses, and during that weekend in between, I was sick. From Saturday until Monday, and Monday only because we finally went to the med center because I couldn't take it anymore. I had been vomiting for 3 days straight. I couldn't keep any food or water down. I was starting to throw up water, and that's not a good sign. So we took me to the med center, and they were pretty much going to let me go until I mentioned that the motion sickness was so bad that I had to cover my eyes the whole trip to the med center. I couldn't watch TV, I couldn't do anything because my eyes were just so bad. And so they gave me medicine for nausea and also medicine for the motion sickness. And I went and got those, and thank God for relief. It was I mean, this was something that not even Pepto was taking care of, because it was all motion sickness so bad. The vertigo was so bad. And so I couldn't figure out why it was started or why it happened.
And why it was lasting so long?
Yes, and it would have kept going, and I probably would have been really bad if I would have let it go anymore, because I had already lost 5 pounds in 3 days. And so I ended up going and get my glasses, and when I went to go get my glasses, I told the receptionist, funny thing, I've been sick all weekend, and the motion sickness that I had was causing vomiting so violently that I couldn't even see like the TV, or I couldn't walk without touching walls, holding on to walls, because walking was a motion that it was just a thing. You have to go to the bathroom every once in a while, and so you need to do these things, right? You still need to be able to get up and walk, and I was holding on to walls like I was a blind person.
Yeah.
And so she says, the doctor's probably going to want to see you again. And I'm thinking, I was just here. But So I ended up going back on that following Monday, which was only 2 weeks from my previous appointment, and more testing, more going through all this stuff, and he checked my eyes really, really good, and then he said, you know, do you have allergies? And I said, yes, I do. And he says, are you on medicine? I said, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And he said, yeah. And I said, he says, have you been taking your medicine? And I said, no, I haven't been able to get it. And he said, there you go. And I said, what's going on? And he said, because you haven't been taking your medicine, something triggered in your brain that it was time to get dizzy. And because your eyes cannot focus, when you're dizzy, your head has nowhere to focus on, and because your eyes follow what your head says, the eyes have no way to stop. They just keep going, like you're still riding that merry-go-round. And I'm like, well, that was a very convenient that you knew that. I wish the other guy had asked me these questions. We could have fixed this a lot sooner. I had already previously gone to Walgreens after the relief of not being, you know, having the nausea medicine so I could actually drive. Went there, walked in, and talked to somebody, had the bottle, and said, I need this stuff. And this was before the doctor told me that. I said, I need it back, and I need it now. And this is why it happened. And they got it all figured out, and I had it that day, and I started taking it, and I'm better. But he knew answers that I had no way of knowing. And it was awesome that he did. And I was telling Sarah, I wish I had a doctor that knew everything. That, you know, it was like, I went to my eye doctor and found out that my allergy medicine was causing my eyes to go nutty.
Well, think about this. If your body relies on the allergy medicine to prevent external stimulants that causes your allergies to wreak havoc on your body daily, and you take it off, your body was not prepared for all those things to actually get through that shield that you've always put up and hit you all at once. There was no gradual thing about it. It was just instantaneous. Your body is so used to having something to keep it safe, and it just did not have. It would be like having a blockade so that all these arrows don't hit you, and then all of a sudden just being like, one day being like, I can live without the blockade. Well, then all the arrows are gonna hit you, and you're so used to them having somewhere to go, and well, guess what? It's not gonna hit the wall. It's gonna hit you now.
So anyway, now I have my glasses. I have my medicine back. My eyes are getting back to normal because my left eye was the one that was shifting all the time.
God, yeah.
It felt like it was bruised. It felt like it was
that's a very interesting word to use.
Yeah, it felt like it was it had hit up against the side of my eye all the time. And I felt like when after the motion sickness went away, but before it got better, it almost felt like my left eye was crossed.
Yes.
But I couldn't I couldn't see out of it correctly.
It was double vision. It was the stigmatism moving the eye and focusing at a different rate than what.
So I was very grateful for all of these doctors that helped me get back on track. But meanwhile, that's why I couldn't do the videos last week. And before that happened, I was able to get a couple of things done. So I do want to show you that before she shows you her really cool thing. So my granddaughter knows that I have a seatbelt. I'm going to call it a cozy. You put it on the seatbelt. I did this last summer. I made it so that it would hit right here when we're riding in the car, because in the summertime you're wearing shirts like this, like your tank tops and stuff, your neck's exposed and that seatbelt really cuts into it, right? And in the wintertime you don't feel it so much, but in the summertime you do. And my granddaughter said, Nana, can I have one of those too? And I'm like trying to figure out what she's talking about. And then she says, you know, that thing that you put on your seatbelt so that it doesn't hurt your neck. And I'm like, oh yeah, you can have one of those. I'll make it for you. Well, she's been sitting in the middle of the back seat. Previous to that, she was sitting over by the door. So I asked her this last time that she was over, I said, do you want it in the middle or do you want it over by the door? Because I'm going to need to know where to sew it on. And I made her one. And she says, well, can I have two? And I said, yes, you can have two, but I would like to know where we're starting so that after we film this episode, I can sew it onto the seatbelt. And I have the extra thread here, but you just double it up and then you whip stitch it all the way down. Now it's not going to be able to come off, but that's what you want. And if you do want it off, or you're going to sell your car or whatever, you can just cut it off and it'll be fine. And so she said, well, I kind of want one on both so I can have a choice. And I'm like, well, then we'll make you two. So then she says, but then, Nana, I ride in Mommy's car too, so I need two for that car too. So she's asking for four of them. Well, I'm going to figure on making a couple for Caniel too from where he sits, and he can have one for my car and one for his mom's car too. So I'll do his in different colors, but it's just funny how their little minds work. Well, I ride in the other car too, so because she sits in a booster seat now. Okay, and the second thing I made, and this is also a small object because I just couldn't. I made my doll. Try and get it in there. Nope, that didn't work very well.
Oh,
She'll be okay. She's not gonna bruise.
oh, oh.
Okay.
It looks like she's crying. You hit her right here and there's stuff on her face.
Oh.
Darn it. It's okay. Here, I got it. She made her a little Afghan for the couch when she's on the couch.
And now Sarah, if you would lay her down on the couch.
Here you go, madam. What have you named her?
Her name is Paige. That's when I got her. Her name was Paige.
I love you so much.
I told you.
I forgot.
Okay. So when she's all cozy on the couch, it goes over her feet and up to her shoulders. Just like when I do a personal Afghan for somebody, I make it just big enough for them to sit in their chair or to lay on the couch and just be up to their shoulders and down past their feet.
Do I need to make a sleeping eye cover mask so that when she's sleeping you don't have to worry about her eyes being open?
Maybe.
And sew on the little, with the eyelashes so it looks like she's asleep.
Yes. That would be perfect. But so yes, that's what I made. So I think I'm done with the doll stuff for now. But I've got 3 more of the seatbelt covers or cozies or whatever you call them. And then when we get a booster for Caniel, I'll make his when he gets his, because now I have the pattern, so I know how to do it. But if you don't know that your seatbelt is 2 inches crossed, So you make 4 inches the width, and then when you double it up, you should be able to whip stitch it right on there, and it should fit really, really nicely. So, and if it doesn't, I will just add an extra row and then do it, but I think it will. So you really don't want it moving around on you once you get it on there. So,
no, you don't.
if I was going to make an extra row, I'd probably do it in single crochet. I did this one in half double crochet. So, and with double thread, or double yarn, only because the thicker you can make it, the more you don't feel that seatbelt on you.
Yeah.
So, you want it pretty thick.
If I had my own car, I would want one, because not for any other reason than I actually have a mole right here.
Yeah.
And it cuts into my mole.
Yeah.
And it makes it so itchy. Like,
Yeah.
I'm constantly itching it because it's being rubbed, and I'm like, it's irritating my skin, and I'm itching it, and it stinks.
Yeah. Yeah, I would make you one too if you ever do get one.
Yeah, well, I share my car with my husband, and I don't think he would want it down there. But
He could put it down here,
I guess I can always ask.
and then when you're in it, you just
Lift it up.
lift it, pull it up to where you need it.
Okay.
Because in the wintertime, I put it down across my belly because I have a coat on. It actually, naturally, I kind of pull it down because when your seatbelt's going back into its position,
Yeah,
you need to have it down to the bottom position. So you actually need to lift it up every time you put your seatbelt on, because it goes, you have to,
adjust it to the
you
right
have-
spot.
yeah.
So it cushions where it's supposed to cushion.
well, and you're pulling the seatbelt to where you need it as well, and you don't want it down at the bottom during the summertime. You want it up by your neck. So, what are you working on?
Well, so I was invited to a baby shower.
Were you invited?
Yes, and it's it is an acquaintance that is becoming, she's a neighbor to my mom, and her kids go to the same school as my kids, so it's kind of like we're starting to intermingle a little bit more often. And she's a really nice lady, and she's pregnant with her 5th child, and we were invited, and I was really excited. And I noticed that in her description for the invite there was a strawberry that she put in it, and I was thinking, okay, well, maybe strawberries is something for this little baby girl that they're having. And so, but I wanted to confirm, so I was, because my mom wasn't sure what they would like, and so because she sees her more often, so I relied on her possible knowledge of what the nursery was going to be or whatever. Well, what happened was I just ended up texting her, and I was just like, hey, what's the nursery's theme? What's this baby's nursery theme going to be? And she said, I'm doing strawberries. And I was like, okay, so that actually put a place. It wasn't just like, oh, look at my little strawberry or whatever. And because you kind of nickname the baby sometimes. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, good to know. And I said, I got you. And she's like, I want things in red and pink specifically. And I was like, okay, good to know, great, awesome. And so what I did is I decided that I was going to do a Afghan. I was going to do squares and sew them together and make a baby blanket, which I know, most basic thing you can do as a crocheter. But here's the thing, I wanted to make sure that it was on theme, and so I picked up, I started just scouring my phone for the right ideas for like blocks that had good strawberry patterns in them, and then but I didn't want I wanted the blanket to be on theme, but I didn't want it to be too busy. And so what I did was what'd you do? You're undoing my thing.
I didn't realize it was holding that. I just thought it was a fuzzy.
Oh, yeah, no. But what I did was I kind of made a grid, did the math, and I was figuring out what I wanted to do and how, even because I found multiple blocks that I wanted to do. And I ended up deciding on 2 different strawberry blocks and then how I was going to do my pink blocks as a solid. So my first block is this little halo of strawberries. And I did the block where I chose to have the white flower in the middle, do the block, do white, and then do a red little border before I finished it off with white. And I did do the detailing of all the seeds by hand for every single block. And I have 6 of these. Now my other strawberry block looks like this one. So the strawberry is very well front and center in the block, and obviously I framed it the same way with the red and the white. And I'm currently working on 6 of these. Now my blocks for the pink, I did corner to corner, so that it kind of looks like a basket weave. And I wanted there to be a mild texture that still had some sort of interest to the eye, but I did not want it to be the traditional granny square, because I thought that give the granny square over to the textured blocks already, the strawberry blocks already, who already are going to be the main focus. And what I do is I keep these as solid as possible, but I wanted them to kind of have some sort of interest in them. So I decided to do the basket, this corner to corner stitch, which what I found, sorry, I have them tied together so that I can keep them organized by how many I was making at a time. But I realized that by how I did this, it looks like a basket weave almost. And so it's like a strawberry basket.
Yeah.
And so I have, so far I have 12 of these, but I actually have to have 13. Now what's crazy is I got a normal regular skeins for every single one of the colors that I picked up. And I picked up this like pinkish mauve, like dusty rose color, pink rose color. I picked a solid red, a solid green. So these obviously would be like the typical red and green for Christmas that I chose. Kind of like a candy apple red and a solid, almost, I don't know, it's not a forest green. Maybe like a leprechaun green. And then I picked up a white for my base. And obviously this pink. Now this pink is so small because I've done all these blocks out of just that regular size skein. That regular skein has produced so far 12 of these.
Wow.
And I'm wondering if I can get the last one out of this little one. I'm not sure, because I need 13. Because a 5x5 Afghan, and I'm doing the pink being the most, so it's 13 and 12 and I'm cutting the pattern blocks by 6 the pattern blocks by 6 and 6, so that makes the 12 for the pattern blocks, and then the other one is the 13 to make the 25.
Yeah.
12 and 13 to make the 25. So I have to do one more, and I don't know if I'm going to have to run to the store and pick up just one more skein for this little thing. And I almost considered adjusting the pattern where I just made another one of these instead. And adjust the pattern to just offset that instead. And I might do that, I'm not sure. But when I did it, I decided that based off of all the work that you have to do on the back of the Afghan, because here's the thing. All the work I've had to do with sewing on the seeds afterward makes for a kind of an ugly back. Now I do all the proper work to make sure that all my loose threads are weaved in. All that's pretty. I do my best to have really good clean work on the flag. There's nothing that's going to grab or tear or anything. But this ain't pretty. This ain't pretty. So what I was thinking is I got this remnant scrap of, like, it's polyester, but it's like a plush fleece. It's really soft. And I thought that after I sewed these together, I could actually sew this on as the back. And so this will be a little bit heavier of a blanket, but by the time the baby comes, it'll be in the fall, like end of summer, fall, and then it'll be going into winter. So mommy will have something
Yeah.
And obviously I trust this mama to know what to do for her baby to make sure that it's safe and everything. But I just thought that that might create a nice dimension to the blanket.
Yeah.
And I thought that it might protect the back, protect all my loose ends, make it easier for this blanket to last a little longer, because the stiffer the back is, the better it's gonna last.
Yeah.
I mean, if we know anything about Afghans, because my mom is good at making solid Afghans, so just like with this, with the stall blanket, she does one row and then she goes all the way down. She makes it from the width for its length. She does it straight. But anytime anyone does a blanket like this, we know that when we're sewing it together, these seams are so important, how strong we tie them together or sew them together. And it's almost, this is the equivalent of doing quilting almost in yarn form, honestly, because like think about it, when you're quilting, you're assembling your blocks together, and what holds it tight and makes it safe is the back. And so all I kept thinking was in that same vein of how am I doing this? Now obviously the pink is my pink blocks are a solid, so you're not going to see that pink popping through, but like you said, Mom said she wanted pink and red, so I figured that pink showing through the blocks wasn't going to be so pretty. And on top of it, the way I'm sewing these blocks together, I'm doing it with the red.
Ooh.
So the red will still be front and center, and I'm considering doing a shell top pattern to finish off the border.
Yeah.
With the red, because the pink is going to be the back. So I'm considering different options there, and I'm very excited. I'm keeping all the secondary colors, the white as a off base way to be able to see it. The green and the yellow is just for necessity, just to be able to see the shape of these the obvious fruit. Otherwise, I'm not going to use the green or the white for anything else. Every other color is going to be the pink and the red. So that's my current thing, and that has to be done by this Saturday. Now, as you can see, I have this 12. I need to make one more, or I have to choose a different way I'm laying these out and get one more of those, which I might do. I got all that done. I have one of these completed. Now what I'm doing is I'm doing these in almost like an assembly line. So I got all the middles made. I got all of them rounded with the white, and now I'm bordering it with the red, and then the white, and then the white, and then I'm going to do all the detail work for the strawberry at the end. So I've just been kind of assembly lining them so that's faster.
So you're really kind of getting it done quickly.
Well, the reason why I'm doing that is because then I'm not switching my yarns so fast.
Yeah.
And I'm only sticking with the red, and then I'm only sticking with the white, and then I'm only sticking with the red, and then I'm only sticking with the white, and then I'm focusing on one thing at a time.
And you know exactly what you're doing for each one because you just keep doing it.
Exactly. So I'm not really requiring to look at the pattern or anything.
Yes.
Which, by the way, I had to do this off of my own intuition and picture alone, practically. Now they did have one of those picture patterns where you're seeing the stitches.
Oh yeah.
And with this one I was able to find a free pattern, but after really doing it once, I figured out how to do this after doing it practically once. And I had to figure out how to do all my color changes on my own. And for the green and white row, I had to keep switching. So it was quite the experience figuring out the lay of that. This one I did have written instructions, so that was nice. But I had to figure out my border to fit what I did with this my prior blocks all on my own. So I kind of have been working some of it on my own. Some of the added details to make it crisper were my own take on how I would have done the block.
Yeah.
Now that just comes from my experience. That is no disrespect on the other creators, because it's still a solid pattern. Both of them are solid patterns. So I'm very grateful to Pinterest to be able to help me figure out what I was going to do there. Nothing wrong, but I'm assembling it, lining it. I'm going to be assembling it probably I'm going to get the rest of these blocks done, figure out whether I'm doing one more pink block or one more of the strawberry blocks and figuring it out from there. And then what I'm going to do after that is assemble the crocheted afghan. And then I actually ordered on Amazon one of those ombre sewing machine thread bobbins, those really ombre ones.
Yeah.
And it's ombre from white to a dark pink.
Ooh.
So that it will
like it.
ombre well. And I'm actually choosing to sew this onto my my fleece backing, and when I pin it down, I'm actually going to choose which blocks I'm going to outline so that you can see blocks
Oh, wow.
pinned
Yeah.
on the back of the material, because I'm not going to do it all.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the border, and then I'm going to do a couple of the squares on the inside so you can kind of see the
Yay.
texture, and then I'll border it. I'll wash it once so that I know I've done all that preset for everything. Now, another thing. I found these little Crocs, these little baby Crocs. Do you see these? These are cute. These are cute. Now, obviously, no baby needs to have those little fidget things, those little buttons that you can put on the Crocs, because that might, disrupt their feet, right? These already need to just stay soft and protected for their baby feet. I'm considering, because of all the crocheting of strawberries I've been doing, to crochet a strawberry and just sew it into the hole to decorate the top.
If you have time. I think the blanket would be great.
So that's been great. But one more thing I've done is my daughter lost her first tooth. And so I crocheted a tooth fairy pillow.
You crocheted it?
I mean, I sewed it.
Okay.
And my mom hasn't seen the back, so I'm trying to hide the back. But I used fleece, and that I had around the house, and I cut out a tooth. I put it on this baby blue back, and I had this lace that I thought would look good. And then the back pouch is purple with a ribbon that had these little tassels, so she can put her tooth in there. And the reason why I chose these colors is because my daughter's favorite colors are pink, purple, and blue.
Yep. They are. That's awesome.
I decided that this would make it easier for the tooth fairy to be able to see where Olivia left the tooth. So that the tooth fairy can be able to find the tooth and be able to give her money.
Yes.
And I'm saying tooth fairy because obviously we have kids in the room, and the tooth fairy is very much needing to know where the tooth went.
Yeah, so that's a perfect way to do it. I love it.
So, but we originally put her tooth in it last night because I made it yesterday. I just whipped this up yesterday. And I hand sewed the whole thing.
Awesome.
And if you can see how tight my stitches are on the on this, I was insane with how tight I sewed.
Oh, yeah.
And even this.
Wow.
Well, anyway, that's my own perfectionism coming into play, not anyone else's fault. I got this done in time for her to put the tooth in, and then she told me, take the tooth out, I want to show Nana tomorrow. So, and we just talked about how the tooth fairy is activated by the tooth being in the pillow and her falling asleep, just like how Santa requires her to fall asleep properly to be able to have him come.
Yeah.
So I said I'll deactivate it by taking the tooth out so that it doesn't get activated, and so she handed it back to me. But she said there was a couple people she needed to be able to show, and that money will be fine. She'll get her money when it was time. And I was just like, I love you so much. So yeah.
Awesome. It's awesome. I love it. I'm so glad you did this for her. You'll have to make one for Daniel too, no?
Yeah, well,
Eventually he's going to lose his teeth too.
He's already trying. My mother-in-law had bought these from the dollar store. They were called Tooth Fairy pillows, but it was a hanging pillow. And Daniel still has his, and the pillow, it has like a little dinosaur with a tooth missing, and there's a pouch in the back.
Oh, so that's awesome. He's already got one.
And Olivia had something like that, but I couldn't find it, so I just whipped this up real quick. But Daniel does have one, but if he wants me to make one, I'm more than willing to, no big deal. But that's kind of where I got this idea already, was from my mother-in-law picking that random pillow up, and I was like, that's cute, and that allows the Tooth Fairy to know where the tooth is. So I thought that was cool. So I made one, and
That's
I
awesome.
think it's kind of cute.
It is. I love it.
So, yep, the things we do for our kids. So, and kids we don't even know. So, yeah. This has just been fun. It's been very, I've been bringing this project with me everywhere.
That's good because you have a timeline.
Well, not only that, but because it's blocks, it's a huge project, but right now they're still manageable bite-sized pieces. So I've been able to bring the bag with me and I'm keeping the bag organized by organizing the blocks as I complete whole sections of it done.
Right.
So,
Well, and the big theme in this, besides strawberries, is also diapers and wipes. And so they're having a raffle on the person, people can put their name in if they brought diapers and wipes. And so that's what I thought I'd do. And they had a specific couple of brands that they wanted, but they wanted it sensitive. They wanted it fragrance free.
Yeah.
So one of them was Huggies. So I went and got 128 diapers all in one box, and then a bag with 2 bags of the wipes in it. Sensitive, no fragrance, no dyes, no nothing.
Yep.
And of the Huggies wipes. And I had a thing of shampoo body wash for kids, for babies, that I think you had gotten for your shower, and we only used it like one time. I will ask her if she wants it. If she doesn't, I'll just toss it in the garbage, because she brought her kids home to take baths, but a couple of times they took baths here. And we had that here, but otherwise there's no reason for me to keep it here.
Yeah.
And it's only been used that much. If she wants it, she can have it. If she doesn't, then she doesn't have it.
Right, there's no disrespect.
And I'll explain the whole thing, why there's a little bit out of it. But, and so I'm just going to bring up diapers and wipes, because obviously they're going to need those. And I at the time wasn't sick yet, but knew I wasn't going to have time to get another big project done before the shower. Sarah, she hyper focuses when she's got a project that needs to be done for a specific time. She will get this done. Even if she did start,
the day before.
Or even a couple of weeks before, like you did for this one. You knew you had a couple of weeks to get it done, and you did it. Look at all the blocks that you've gotten done, and I'm just like, wow. It's amazing when you put your mind to something, how much you can get done.
Yep.
And so that's what we're here to make sure that you guys know that you can get things done, and you don't have to be alone. We're here with you. I didn't pick a quote today, so it's
all good.
Yeah.
The reality of our video today, because it's running a little long anyway, is just that life gets in the way, or life takes one of those moments where you just absolutely must use your hobby to scratch an itch. Because the reality is I could have just bought a blanket.
It wouldn't have been as special, I don't think.
But
Could have been.
I can't just buy a blanket. Because my hubby says, but you can make it. And I was like, okay. Because honestly, I don't know if she wants it to be a strawberry shortcake theme. All
She didn't say that.
All she said was strawberry.
Yep.
So I just made it strawberry. So I think it's raining.
Yep.
So we're going to have to leave. And I know that sounds rather random, but it's going to be really loud very quickly. So
Yeah.
instead of having you listen to it rain, we're just going to say, we love you guys. We thank you for coming. And if you've made it this far into the video, thank you. We appreciate you very much.
Give us a like, subscribe, and tell your friends.
And I will make sure to take photos. Obviously, this blanket's going to be gone by the time I see you next week, but I promise I'll have photos for you so you can see its completion. And yeah, just know, hey, you're not alone. We're all working on things. We're all either going through things or working on things. And it's okay if you have a million whips. It's okay if you have no inspiration. Because at the end, the hobby is there for you to be creative. And it has no other purpose. And it does not need to define you in any other way than you're a creative person with a lot of ideas or are waiting for the inspiration to hit you. So let it happen as it happens, because there's no rush. Life does not need to be that serious all the time.
Yeah.
So we love you, we thank you, and until next time, we hope that you stitch your way
To mental health.